Shield, then
Hello
BF
folks,
Sword,
this
then
is
BF
Sula
Boost,
speaking,
then
and
you
you're
have
watching a
something in
commentary
between.
video on League of Legends.
Okay, Doran
This is a
Shield.
game that I played
Then you wanna get
yesterday. This
you
is a
just wanna get
pre-made game. I'm playing as Annie, and this is actually my second
and
game
then
ever playing as
BF
Annie,
Sword,
so I will be
and then
learning this character
Infinity
as I
Edge.
go along. I'm also playing with Speaker, who's using Xin Zhao, and his name in-game is Ciderberg. And we're also
Yeah, it looks
playing
like you
with
have the right
Sunrise and
idea.
Kayan, two
The two
people that have
major
just joined League of
items for
Legends. They're
Kale
playing
are
Ashe and Kale.
Instance Rage
Then we
Blade
have a
and
fourth
Master
random
Speed.
player playing Kennen. Who we don't know and who was just picked up randomly. Now, this is a game that's difficult for the matchmaking queue to handle because Speaker is level 30 and has played probably 400 or 500 games of League of Legends. I'm level 20. I've played just over 100. And Sunrise playing Ashe and Kayan playing Kale. So, I believe this is Sunrise's first game ever of League of Legends, and I think this is Kale's third or fourth game ever playing the game. So we have a very wide skill level here between the different players. That means that the opponent team will be a mixture of different levels. We'll probably have people around level 15 or so as the matchmaking queue tries to balance it out. In other words, if you're looking for a game full of level 30 players, full of all pro players, you're not going to find it here. This is more of a teaching tool, teaching type game because we have some new people that are just starting out, Kayan and Sunrise. So just bear that in mind, that not everybody has the same level of experience playing this game. Speaker is going to take mid, therefore, and I'm going to go top along with Kayan. We, as the top level and people with the most experience on our team, we are going to have to try to carry this game for the rest of our players. Speaker hopefully should be able to do that, playing as Shin in the mid there, a good character to have in the middle. And over here, our Kennen player, who we don't know, goes charging into the bushes against the two people on the other team. Just for anyone watching this, you don't want to do this. You can go into the bushes, but it's dangerous, it's risky. The other team will sometimes put 3 or 4 or even 5 players all on one side in the hopes that you'll charge into the bushes. And if they do that and you go running in there, it's pretty much an instant kill. It's generally just safer to stay back by the towers. Secondly, if you're going to do that, you want to do it with some beefy tank characters. You certainly don't want to run in there by yourself without a partner, and you certainly don't want to do it if you're playing as Kennen, who's a fragile mage type champion. So that was a mistake by the guy on their team, and fortunately it didn't result in a kill, but could have been a mistake. And like I said, that Kennen player is the one that I don't know. Anyway, I'm playing up top here as Annie. I've started with a Doran's Ring and a health potion, which is a pretty standard opening for a casting character in terms of items. Kayan is going to be playing Kale, and I believe that he's only played Kale maybe once or twice before, like I said, so he's going to have to play defensively. Down here, there's a battle going on, and we almost managed to get that Rammus. If Sunrise had Ignite, he could have gotten a kill there. But like I said, I think this is Sunrise's first game ever of League of Legends, so there's going to be some learning attached. Okay. As far as what's going on here, I'm going to start by explaining Annie and some of her abilities. Now, every character in this game in League of Legends has their 4 standard abilities that I've talked about in previous videos, but they also have a passive ability. I didn't talk about this in my first video with Zilean because Zilean's passive simply gives everybody on your team, I think, 8% additional experience. Nice little boost to have, but nothing particularly worth mentioning. There are other characters, though, whose entire gameplay is designed around their passive ability, and Annie is one of them. If you'll notice, there's a little counter at the bottom of the screen that, if you see that little flame indication, that goes up each time I cast a spell. Every 5th spell that Annie casts, she will stun the enemy, or she'll stun whoever she targets. So right now, you can see I'm at 2 down there at the bottom. When I get up to 5, my next spell will stun the whoever gets hit by it. So for Annie, you always have to be aware of where she is in terms of her spell progression, because when you get up to 5, see right now I'm up to 4, I have to cast one more spell, and then my next one will stun the enemy. When I get up to that 5th spell, you'll see a little white circle appear around Annie. That's your cue that her next spell is about to stun. See, right now she's got a little white circle around her, so my next spell will stun whoever it hits. And I choose to use it on a minion, so it doesn't matter, but it would have stunned the enemy champion if I got hit by it. Now, whether you're playing as Annie, you need to be aware of this, especially if you're playing against Annie, you definitely need to be aware of this too, because whenever you see that little white swirl around Annie, you need to know that her next spell is going to stun, and so you need to watch out for that and be careful. So like I said, for Annie, this passive is really fundamental to her gameplay. Alright, now we're just sort of harassing back and forth here. What I'm going to show you next in 1 second is I'm going to freeze it on the status screen that you get by hitting tab. So see right here, you can see the levels, summoner abilities, kills, deaths, assists, and also items. But what I want to focus on is the minion kills. That's the category under the little monster face. You can see I have 11 minion kills and Speaker has 14. If you look on the other team, their Amumu has 0 and their Annie has 2. Now, what that means is that they are getting less gold than we are. For example, each minion kill is worth roughly 20 gold on average. And here comes their Amumu. He's about to die, but oh, he just gets away, unfortunately. Anyway, the point, unfortunately, he slips back past the tower and I don't want to pursue. The point I was trying to make about the minions is that, like I said, each minion kill on average is worth about 20 gold. So you can see we were both ahead quite a bit. I'm about 10 minion kills ahead of the other people I'm laning against. That will translate into 20 gold ahead, and of course over time that's going to add up into a larger and larger difference. So that's why it's so important to try to focus on last hitting. Very important. Like right there, I just got some gold. Okay, let me talk about Annie's abilities while we're still going back and forth here in the laning phase. Her first skill, her Q skill, is called Disintegrate. It shoots out a bolt of fire, and you've seen me using it over and over again. Like, for example, there it is again. Does moderate damage, pretty strong damage in the early game, pretty good throughout the game. It's a great harassment tool because it has good range. Decent ability power ratio, not the highest, but pretty decent. The other thing about Disintegrate that makes it so useful is that if you get a kill with Disintegrate, it refunds the mana cost that you invest into the spell. And right there, Annie's taking a lot of damage, but unfortunately we're not quite going to be able to get her, in part because they use the Summoner heal skill. So anytime I kill an enemy with Disintegrate, it refunds the mana cost, which is great. It allows me to keep casting it over and over again. So as Annie, you want to keep using that, and it's great for farming up minions in the early game. Her second ability is called Incinerate. You've seen me use it once or twice, but not too much. It shoots out a little cone of fire right in front of you. Now, this does more damage than her range skill, Disintegrate, but Incinerate has a couple drawbacks. For one, the range is very short. Secondly, it costs more mana. And then third, it doesn't refund the mana cost if you kill the target. So in terms of farming, you're better off using her Q skill, Disintegrate, than her W skill. Her third skill is called Molten Shield. Annie places a shield around herself, which will increase her armor and her magic resistance. Oh, there goes the Amumu. Are we going to be able to get him here? Unfortunately, he slips away again with just a little life left. And you can see I stunned him there, so if I had been paying a little bit more attention, we probably could have gotten the kill. But like I said, this is only my second game with Annie, so I wasn't quite perfect yet in terms of the stunning. Anyway, just to wrap up the skills, like I said, Molten Shield, her E skill, increases your armor, increases her physical resistance. Unfortunately, Annie can only cast it on herself. She can't put the shield on someone else, which is a bit of a drawback, but it's still useful. Not useful enough to put a lot of points in. I'll just put 1 point in it because it's useful to be able to cycle through her Annie's spell progression. For example, if you're 1 away from her stun, you can pop her shield real quick and then cycle up to your stun afterwards. So I found it useful to get just 1 point in the skill and then max it out at the end of the game. Finally, her ultimate is called Summon Tibbers. Annie summons her pet bear, which is called Tibbers. Tibbers is a minion that you can then control. He does damage both when he's summoned initially, and then you can control him to get kills afterwards. It's a great ultimate. It's on a relatively short cooldown. I think you can cast it about every 60 seconds, and it does a lot of damage. So for Annie, her gameplay is usually based around landing her stun, that is, stunning someone, have it lined up so you have your stun ready, summon Tibbers on top of someone, and then follow it up with her other spells, and it's pretty easy to get a kill that way. Speaking of kills, Speaker has just gotten another kill. He is dominating the enemy team's Tristana in mid. He's already killed her twice now. So Speaker is way ahead, and he's dominating that lane, which is great news for us. We kind of need him to do well in this game because, like I said, Speaker is the level 30 on our team. I'm getting close to level 6 myself, at which point in time I'll be able to summon Tibbers and use my ultimate. You can also see in the bottom left-hand corner, some people are a random person, our random Kennen, who we didn't know, was sort of going back and forth with people on the other team. A little bit disappointing the way people will trash talk back and forth, but, I guess that's, if you've ever played an online game, that's going to happen. We were mostly just ignoring what was going on in this game. Right now, I'm going to try to farm up to get to level 6, at which point in time I can use my ultimate and summon Tibbers for the first time. So we'll kill some minions here, and then once I hit level 6, we should be able to go for a kill against this enemy team. Really, that's what you want to do with Annie. You want to set things up for your for a kill at level 6. Usually that's where you'll get your first kill if you're playing things right. And look, there we are, level 6. And I have my stun up, so we're well set up, and we're going to go after a Mumu here. All right, we go into the brush. Let's see if we can get him to go forward just a little bit, and I'm going to drop Tibbers on him. There comes Tibbers. Now I'm going to follow it up with my spells. He uses Summoner Heal and starts to run away, but I'm going to pop off Ghost and Chase. So is he going to get away? Nope. No, he's not. And so I finish him off with my Disintegrate skill. Now, you saw I managed to run in and took some shots for the tower, but that was one situation where it was definitely worthwhile to do so because I was able to get a kill. Now, I have Tibbers attacking the enemy Annie, and of course she summoned her own bear. So I'm going to follow that up with some spells, and I've taken some damage, but now she's stunned, and I finish off her Tibbers right there. Annie should run away, but she's going to stick in the fight here for a minute longer. She's going after minions, so I'm going to follow that up with Disintegrate, and then Incinerate, and she sticks around, and I finish her off with my auto attack. So Annie auto attack for the kill, if you can believe it. So a nice sequence there. Annie probably should have just gotten out of there once she was down to virtually no health left, but she stuck around just a little bit too long, and I was able to get the kill, which gives me more money to buy items. So I'm going to buy Mercury Treads here. Probably the best boots overall in this game, at least the way it's set up right now. And you know, now that we are safe in the lane, we're free to port back, buy some more items, and heal up here. Okay, I'm going to then pause the game briefly again to show the tab screen on item kill or minion kills. Now you'll see Speaker's up to 53 minion kills. I'm up to 36, and if you look at who we're laning against, Amumu's at 8 and Annie's at 13. Now keep in mind, every time you kill a champion, you get 300 gold for it, and each minion kill is 20 gold. So Speaker is about 1,500 gold ahead of the Tristana he was laning against, and meanwhile I'm about 1,000 gold ahead of the Annie that I'm leaning against. So you can see that's going to lead to better items for us, and that means we're just going to get further ahead. As I've said before, this is a snowball game. Once you start getting that gold, you can just get a big lead, which will translate into better items. For example, I've already got Mercury Treads, and I'm building towards my Rod of Ages. Speakers already has a Brutalizer, which is a great item for for a physical damage character.
I'll be there shortly if I try.
Amumu's up here, but now that we've already... Amumu comes in, he wants to engage, but then he's going to back off a little bit. So we'll continue farming creeps for the moment. Speaker gets another kill. Speaker went to the bottom lane, I think, and killed their Rammus there. So now that Speaker has been dominant at mid, he can just sort of range freely around the map. And here, another fight breaks out. We each drop our ultimates, and Mumu drops his ultimate. The result is that Kayan ended up getting killed, but I managed to kill Amumu again. So we basically traded kills there. And here it's a Tibbers fight, back and forth, but my Tibbers has the tower helping him out. So, I'm going to have the edge in that fight. So much for the other Annie's Tibber there. All right. Meanwhile, there's a fight taking place down at the bottom of the map, but for the moment, I'm going to keep farming and harassing up here at the top lane. There, Annie's taking a lot of damage, and of course, I have the edge. Is she going to manage to get away? Yes, unfortunately, she is going to get away, but I made her pop off her Summoner Heal, and now she's going to have to go heal. Or she will if she's smart. So now I'll be able to get in a shot on the tower, but then Amumu appears, teleports back, and I can't stick in that fight, not with so much damage. So they're able to chase me off, and I have to retreat and back off for the moment. Right now, Speaker and Sunrise are attacking the tower at mid because their teams doesn't have anybody at mid, which means the tower is vulnerable, and so that allows us to take out their middle tower. I don't want to engage here right now because I've taken a lot of damage. You can see Amumu tosses his bandage at me, but I know the range on the bandage toss by now because I've played the game a bunch, and I'm able to safely escape and get out of it. Speaker and Sunrise are now going to head top towards us. Sunrise will eventually back off and head back to the bottom lane, but Speaker is going to wait up in the bushes, hoping for a chance to jump in here and kill the enemy team. Meanwhile, I'm getting some heals from Kayan, which was very nice, so thank you for that, Kayan. It definitely made it easier for me to stay here in the lane a little bit longer. Right here, I jump into the bushes because that drops the minion aggression against me. If you have minions all chasing you, one way that you can get rid of that is just to jump into the bushes for a second. So another little tip for anyone who's starting out with this game. Right now we're waiting for Speaker to come out of the bushes, so find out what will happen next in part 2. Thanks for watching.